All right, Texas got really red this past election. I covered some of this a previous video, but I want to get into more details about the border counties and Harris County, which actually went more red this time around. Let's check it out.
This week, South Texas turned red for the first time in decades. Republicans gained serious ground in the historically Democratic stronghold in a sea change that could sway Texas politics for years to come. But is this an anomaly or a new era?
Our Ryan Chandler spoke with a Republican leader on the border and breaks down the results.
We are seeing tonight generational change in South Texas.
That's not an exaggeration. It's been many generations, in fact. Starr County, for one, flipped red for the first time since 1896. It's a South Texas swing, fueling a Republican rout.
Our Hispanic communities aren't just leaving the Democrat Party. They're coming home to conservative values they never left.
President Trump won 14 of the 18 border counties this year. The Rio Grande Valley, all red for the first time this century.
What the Republican Party represents now is what we stand by.
Zapata County Republican Party Chair Jennifer Thatcher says the nationwide Republican performance was fueled by the problems in her own backyard.
Security of the border was a big deal for
That's huge. 14 of the 18 border counties, and that one county flipping red for the first time since 1896. That's massive. I contribute largely because of the border.
South Texas.
Yeah.
And it was something that was overlooked. The borders were literally open, whether they want to admit it or not.
It's just a real abject democratic collapse.
After years of groundwork, Republicans are reaping the rewards.
We shouldn't be surprised by this for two reasons. One, Republicans have been telling us that they are trying to do this and have been making demonstrable efforts. And two, I think there's been a tendency, particularly among Democrats, to underestimate the potential for Republicans succeeding in this.
For some Latinos, the switch is not a drastic shift, but a return home.
God, family, faith, it's everything that we embody as a Latino community.
Ryan Chandler, KXAN News.
And Republicans set their sights on flipping 2 congressional seats in South Texas, but Democrats won close races to hold on to both districts.
That is a massive change down there in South Texas. It was trending that way in 2020, and this time it went full blown, almost red this time. So here we go. We're going to talk about Harris County, which is a Democrat stronghold, but it's actually becoming more purple. And I think there's going to be some real changes there very soon. Let's check it out here.
2024 election.
Republicans making huge gains across Texas, including Harris County, a place largely considered to be a Democratic stronghold. And our Marcelino Benito is back at the KHO U11 election board to break down all the big changes we saw in Harris County.
Well, guys, if you're a Republican in Harris County, you have to be feeling really, really good today. If you're a Democrat, not so much. Even though bigger name Democrats Ed Gonzalez and Sean Tier won in races like sheriff and district attorney, voter turnout was the lowest Harris County's seen in 2 decades. 1 in 7 voters live right here in Harris County. So you really have to run up the numbers in counties just like this. You have
I want to take a look at that. Trump only loses Harris County by, what, 5%? It's almost up about, 5%. He is right within striking distance. 717,000 votes to 796 for Kamala Harris. There may not have been a whole lot of enthusiasm for Kamala in general, and people were motivated to vote for Trump for various reasons.
any hope of keeping things tight in Texas, let alone winning statewide. And that did not happen last night. Take a look here in Harris County. Kamala Harris won the county by about 5 percentage points. But take a look at what happened just 4 years earlier, back in 2020, when President Biden was on the ballot. He won Harris County by a 14-point margin.
Wow.
The Senate race, a lot worse than that. Let's look at results from the Colin Allred-Cruz race here in Harris County. Colin Allred won Harris County by about 11 percentage points. If you go back to the last time Ted Cruz was on the ballot, you can see he won Beto O'Rourke won this same county by 17 percentage points. So Democrats this year were underperforming past years. Harris County was not the solidly blue bastion it's been in past elections. Results last night, a major warning sign for Democrats and a rallying cry for Republicans.
Harris County is the third largest county in the country. It is a purple county, and you can compare our results to that county north of us. The fact is that we're in play, and we've been in play for the last 4
Sounds like she's talking about Travis County.
years.
This is a huge historic comeback because it was a decade ago before we've had this type of success. And that's why we're back.
Democrats swept all countywide races back in 2016, 2018, and 2020. This year, Republicans won 10 countywide seats. Republicans also had a huge night with Latino voters. And how's this for a tease? Republicans winning a county here in Texas that they hadn't won since 1892. We'll tell you where it is on this map when I see you guys at 6 o'clock. Back to you.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Imagine if Republicans take Harris County in 2028. I bet in 2026 they'll see more gains. In 2028, it is possible to take Harris County. If Republicans take Harris County here in Texas, I mean that's massive. That is huge. And when you have a county right now that's 44%, or 46% for Trump, or and 52% for Kamala, or whatever number was, that is purple. That's pretty close. It's not a vast difference between those two numbers. When you have 5 percentage points, that's pretty close to purple right there. And Republicans have a very good opportunity to keep making gains. You win 10 countywide seats. Trump gets within striking distance. Ted Cruz closes the gap. You're going to see more of that. If Republicans keep their foot on the gas pedal throughout the state, as they have been, as we see in South Texas, at the border, we see it in Harris County. Travis County, I mean, you can forget about that, at least for now. We'll see. Maybe somebody can get in, like somebody who's like Scott Pressler can go down in Austin and change things down there. I don't expect him to do that because he doesn't need to really worry about Texas. But anyway, that's huge. If Republicans can continue to do that, and we've done a great job since 2018 when Beto got close to winning in that Senate election. Republicans woke up, so we can't take this state for granted. The state's becoming more competitive. Although it is red, it's becoming more competitive. We can't let that happen. So Republicans got out there and they got to work. Great job. Very happy with my county as well. In Tarrant County went red. My area where I live specifically, about 55% Republican to 45% Democrat. Let's check out the appellate courts. Let's check out this from the Texas Tribune. This is a more left-leaning site here. Republicans swept Texas state appellate courts in Tuesday's election, with Republican judges knocking out Democrats in 25 of 26 contested races. While the red wave that washed over the state's courts of appeals reflects the GOP's broader strength in races up and down the ballot, it wasn't immediately clear that the election results portended a vast difference in the court's decisions. We'll get to that in a second. That's actually pretty interesting. Here's what you need to know. What the state's court of appeals do. Texas has 14 courts of appeals known as intermediate appellate courts, with jurisdiction over all civil and criminal cases appealed from district or county courts within their geographic region. Texas also recently created a statewide 15th Court of Appeals that hears business disputes and any civil appeals involving the state government. The courts handle disputes ranging from real estate and oil and gas to entertainment law, criminal cases, and beyond. All intermediate appellate courts serve multiple counties, including the one in which they are based. Judges serve 6-year terms. Now let's talk about Tuesday's red wave, and then we'll get into exactly what this means. Tuesday's red wave. This election, Republican judges flipped 23 seats on the intermediate appellate courts, beating several Democrat incumbents, in some cases by the narrowest of margins. The GOP took all but one contested seat, and even there the Democrat won narrowly. Maggie Ellis on the Third Court of Appeals, based in Austin, triumphed with just 50.9% of the vote. Republicans won every seat up for grabs in the Dallas-based 5th District Court of Appeals. Great. Gaining a Republican majority in previously all-Democratic bench. The GOP also took control over the Houston-based 14th District Court of Appeals, and Republicans swept other appellate courts based in Houston, San Antonio, and Corpus Christi. I think the thing with Harris County is a lot of people are fed up with the crime there. A lot of crime in Houston, and people are tired of it. And I think that's why we saw a good, solid turnout for Republicans in Harris County. The Judicial Fairness PAC, a conservative super PAC, pumped millions of dollars into low-profile races, running ads endorsing Republicans, judicial races that ultimately won seats on courts based in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, and Corpus Christi. We need judges who will keep violent criminals behind bars by imposing meaningful bail before trials instead of letting them out to commit additional violent crimes. Of course, common sense. We need judges who will keep violent criminals behind bars by... Okay, I read that. Sorry. The PAC received more than $18 million in contributions. Elon Musk contributed to that, $2 million. But I want to talk about what this means for the courts. So let's go down to that. Still, Chad Ruback, a Dallas-based appellate lawyer, attributed Republican wins on the bench to the GOP's broader strength and Democrats' disastrous performance across the state. A lot of people were carried on President Trump's coattails, he said Wednesday, noting the judicial red wave aligned with the wider margins of victory that Trump and Senator Cruz enjoyed in Texas this year relative to previous election cycles. I don't believe that the change we're seeing in the appellate races last night should be viewed in a vacuum. He said Tuesday's GOP appellate court takeover felt like deja vu from 2018, but in reverse. 6 years ago, Democrats swept the appellate bench. This year, many of those same seats flipped. 2018 was Beto effect, 100%. That was the Beto effect right there, even though Republicans won all statewide races. But yeah, Beto had a huge impact on that. This time it's reversed. President Trump carried these people to victory. All right, what do these results mean? This is important. Ruback argued that Tuesday's judicial election results would lead to perceptible change, but how the courts ruled, but that change would be limited. It would be a noticeable change, but in my experience, it's not likely to be a dramatic change. He said, noting that the heavily Democratic benches elected in 2018 did not result in vast differences in the court's decisions. That's good. Republican judges may be more receptive to arbitration and summary judgments than the Democrat judges, Ruback said, leading to potential differences in how close cases are decided. But he said that appellate judges are bound by precedent and the state law, and that the vast majority of cases before the state's appellate courts are not close calls. The ones where there's an obvious right or wrong answer, and it doesn't matter whether an R or a D and by somebody's name. The law is the law. He also argued that elected appellate judges were more inclined to avoid the appearance of partisanship and interpret the law objectively because they face re-election and their decisions are subject to review by state Supreme Court and Criminal Court of Appeals. There's more of an inclination to follow the law that's written by the High Court by statute when an individual on a bench is having his or her papers reviewed routinely by the electorate every few years. That's good to know, because we want judges to do what's right by the law. We want them to follow the law. We don't want them to play politics. We don't want some left-wing hack on there pushing an agenda. And the same for the other side. We want you to follow the law. But, of course, would I rather have more Republican judges who follow the law? Of course, because Democrats, we've seen them kind of do some overreach in a lot of areas. I'm sure there have been the same on both sides. But, of course, would I rather have a more conservative court? Yes, I would. But ultimately, you want judges who are right down the middle. Even though if they're Republican or Democrat, when they go in their courtroom, they're looking at things objectively by the law, not playing politics or pushing an agenda. So I think this is great news. Texas got really red. I love it. 14% went for Trump, 9% went for Cruz. We swept up, basically swept all these these seats in the courts. It was a great day, a great month. It's been a great year for Republicans here in Texas. Keep the momentum going. Keep Texas red. Keep Texas the greatest state in the country. Like it. Going to stop the video right there. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.